Welcome everybody to a Running Through the Jungle Christmas special pick'em show with your host Justin Lacey and myself Tim Lyons. Thank you guys for joining. We decided to do this tonight because tomorrow's Christmas Eve and the day after that's Christmas. So if y'all ain't got your shit together, you ain't got your Christmas shopping done, y'all a little late. But we a little bit late tonight right now because we started 4 minutes. I had to create the banners and all that stuff. But Justin, Christmas season's coming. How you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I got my hot eggnog here. I'm ready to sip and talk about some football games. Now, usually when we're doing our Friday night pick'em show, we're fresh off of a Thursday night game that we can talk about, but we're doing this on a Tuesday. We can talk about the 49ers and the Colts game because, look, I know that the Phillip Rivers-led Colts, that kind of drew a lot of eyeballs there. Those uniforms look really good, by the way. Those Indiana night uniforms for the Colts.
I would buy one of those just because they're badass. Those things are just badass.
Yeah, I love the helmets. I love everything about those uniforms. But, they didn't really perform well. They couldn't keep up with the depleted 49ers team. Brock Purdy and company, Christian McCaffrey, they was able to just sling it all over the yard, man. Put up 48 points. Obviously, one of them was a pick six that Phillip Rivers threw.
Right.
Great game, honestly, altogether when you think about it. Don't let the score fool you, but yeah, I mean, that already counted towards the back end of the pick'ems for last week's special. Now we get to talk about a slate of game for this week because we got the short week for the holiday. But I'm excited, man.
Right. So let's get in. Let's talk about last week. So Justin was 11-5. He was on a tear on the 1 o'clock games, bro. Was just tearing it up on the 1 o'clock games, and then he decided to pick the Colts for the Monday night football game instead of the 49ers. He was, he was sipping on that special drink on Friday night. That was our last pick of the show. So, but he went 11-5. Hey, that's still bringing home some money. Your boy Tim Lyons here. I went 13-3 last week. 13-3. It would have been better.
Killed it.
It would have been better if I didn't pick the Bucks to win. And what was that other game that I shouldn't have picked? Oh, the Chiefs over the Titans. Shouldn't have picked that game. But hey, 13-3, that's hella good. And we're doing pretty good. Like I said, I say it every week. We're doing good. If we were a betting show, we'd be making some money. But speaking of a betting show, look who's in the chat. Mr. Payday himself from Pay Dirt, another Running Through the Jungle and Frustrated Chicago Sports Fans Network. We got Pay Dirt in here. We got Mr. Austin Art in here as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for joining us. But you know what, Justin? Let's go ahead and get into it, because we got some good games coming up for Christmas. We got some Christmas games.
Yeah, definitely do. And I'll just have to kind of give this quick little nugget tidbit. I was really impressed at the upset specials that I picked last week because I called the Chiefs losing to the Titans last week. And I also called the Panthers pulling off the big win against the Bucks because I was riding that momentum wave. I was so close. The Packers had to win. And then Chicago pulled off another miracle comeback win. And it was this crazy benevolence of a story for them. But didn't bode well for my pick segment there. As far as the Steelers beating the Lions, I honestly should have just stuck with my gut and went with the Steelers. But I was just thinking that, you know what? The Lions can make this comeback. And they almost did. Right. And they really did. So it was nail biters all the way down the finish line. But yeah,
some great games.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even remember ever picking the Colts with the 49ers, but I think I did sip on that Kool-Aid. So, shame on me. It was the 4 o'clock window slate of games that really kind of did me in for real. Other than that, man, I was on an absolute burner for the 1 o'clock slate of games. And I got the Sunday night game right, too, because the Patriots did held on to win that game, too. So, but yeah, man, I'm excited to get started here. We got the first game coming up with the Cowboys and the Commanders. I'll let you go ahead and take over from this one.
All right, so we got the Cowboys, Commanders. Cowboys are 6-8-1. They got fired on their day off, Craig. They ain't making it to the playoffs, but they're playing against the Washington Commanders on Christmas at 1 o'clock. 4-11 Commanders. It's a 50.5 over under, a 7.5 point spread. Justin, who you taking? Are you taking how'd you get fired on your day off, Craig, Cowboys, or the I haven't showed up all year Washington Commanders and they've been suffering, injuries, but who are you taking?
If there is a team that got fired on their day off too, it's literally both of these teams right here. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys in an obvious win over the Commanders. Look, I like what Marcus Mariota has done, but I don't like this Commanders team overall. They've been very disappointing, although they did make last week's game somewhat entertaining. But at the end of the day, man, I just think that the Dallas Cowboys, they need to be able to get a win to bounce back and get momentum. Neither team is going anywhere. We're at that point of the season of who is going to want to tank more to get a better draft pick positioning, and why not start with these two teams? I think the firepower on the Dallas Cowboys side of the ball with their offense, with obviously Dak Prescott, you got George Pickens, who is a Pro Bowl, who was elected to his first Pro Bowl as a Dallas Cowboys receiver. You still got CeeDee Lamb there. So I think that this will be the Dallas Cowboys game that they should win. I wouldn't say easily, because the Cowboys cannot make things easy to save their lives on. But I think that the Cowboys do win this game here.
Yeah, I'm right along with you. I'm taking the Cowboys as well. I think the Cowboys have the better quarterback, the better offense. Their defense is kind of night and day. But Commanders, they're just not having a very good year, period. So I'm taking the Commanders. Next up is the Lions versus the Vikings. The 8-7 Lions versus the 7-8 Vikings. 7.5 point spread. 43.5 over under. I'm just going to pick it right now. The Detroit Lions are going to be coming into Minnesota and whooping that ass, because I hear JJ McCarthy is dealing with another injury, some kind of fracture, hand fracture, or whatever the hell it is. The Detroit, I just have this heart for Detroit, because they are right up the street, right up the road from all of us. They're kind of like our little baby brothers, but they're up in Detroit of the NFC. But I'm taking the Detroit Lions over the Vikings. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm obviously going with the Detroit Lions too. But here's what I'll say. The Lions, they are the bottom of the barrel is falling out from this team, much to what we saw from earlier this year with this machine of an offensive juggernaut that we see. Now, I get it. The hype has been around Jahmyr Gibbs at running back, but they've kind of put David Montgomery on the back burner. He's only averaging 12 to 15 carries per game. And I think that there was all obvious games where he can really kind of salt away the lead and grind it out for you. He's a different kind of a running back style than what you see with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr is explosive. He's lightning quick. He's shifty. But you need that power and that downhill and that grinder too. And that is what David Montgomery has been. And they really haven't utilized him as much during this back end stretch of the year. Their defense continues to get gashed. And I think that we're in it for that the Lions are going to miss this playoffs here. And I think that I would not be surprised if the Vikings do upset the Lions at home on Christmas Day. The 7.5 point spread, I think that if I were to attack this from a bet perspective, I'm obviously going to pick the Lions to win, but I do think that I'll take the Vikings in the points here. And I do bet the under, because I don't feel like that this is going to be much of a higher scoring game than we think that it is going to be. I still love the Lions' weapons overall. They got great weapons. We already know this. But I think that we are just this much closer for the Lions is just shutting it down and saying that, look, I'm done for the rest of the year. Got 2 games left. It could be this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with I'm Detroit Lions is the way that I'm going. And you're going with the Lions as well, right? All right, make sure I had that. Got that. I'm sorry. I'm little allergies are getting me. So next one up is the Broncos 12-3 going into the 6-9 Chiefs. 13.5 point spread, 36.5 over under. Justin, I think I already know who you're taking, but go ahead. Who are you taking?
I mean, the Chiefs are going to lose out. I mean, this is it for them. That last week, and this is what I said last week. This is why I picked the Titans to win this game. Just because when you saw that the guys were all sitting out, and it was not even just because Patrick Mahomes was not playing. There was a ton of people that was not playing this game. Now the Chiefs can still win this game by way of pride. The Broncos have already they're going to get the division locked up. They should get the division locked up this week here. They just lost the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're still jockeying for that number 1 seed, so they got to win this game. But I'm not picking the Chiefs to win this game. There's literally nobody he's going to be playing. You might see the Chiefs lose this week and even next week too, to kind of like call it quits on the season for real, which is disappointing because we're not used to talking about the Chiefs in that breath, in that sentence. But this is where they are. Injuries have piled up. They haven't really been a great team all year long. That you just had the Patrick Mahomes, the Travis Kelce, the Chris Jones, and the Andy Reid blanket to cover the real issues. And the real issues was that this team was very depleted. They had some solid receivers on offense, but once those injuries start to really catch up to them, their offensive line was never good enough for real. And you got a firepower of a defense that is going to pretty much overwhelm this backup quarterback. They just had to pretty much promote somebody else from the practice squad, because now I believe that what's the Fu Manchu mustache guy? Gardner Minshew.
He's done.
He's on IR. He's on IR too. So now they have to sign somebody from the Bills practice squad, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it's just the Chiefs are done. This is it. I'm going to go with the Broncos in an obvious win here.
Yeah, it's obvious. Broncos are going to wrap this one up on Christmas night versus the Chiefs. You know, I know it was a big deal. Everybody's like, "Oh, the Chiefs are playing a Christmas game. What the hell?" Blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? Let's make it joyful for the Broncos and let them, and not let them, and have them win this AFC West division. Next one. Go ahead.
Before we go into that, this again, it's crazy because you did not anticipate that the Chiefs were always the team. This is how the kind of league has gone. The Chiefs were always the team that you could depend upon, that they're going to be in games where it matters the most. If you want a 5-star matchup, you better include the Chiefs as one of those teams to be involved in it. But man, if you looked at the Chiefs' schedule from the start of the season up until where it is now, they had a ton of games where they were traveling internationally. They were on the road in so many different primetime spots. They were that team, 3-time Super Bowl champion, back-to-back Super Bowl appearance, almost three-peated. They were the team that you wanted into these spotlight moments. So I don't blame schedule makers for putting that into the slot here. It's just that's where the Chiefs are. And you didn't think that they were going to be out of playoff contention. In fact, you would think that they would have already damn near wrapped up the AFC West by the time this week came around, since that's what's been the status quo. But unfortunately, that's not what's happened. I still think that this is going to be a nice divisional matchup, just because at the end of the day, the Broncos, they have to win this game to be able to solidify the AFC West, and this could be their T-shirt and hat ceremony game here.
Yep, definitely. Next one up is the Texans versus the Chargers. The 10-5 Texans, and this is a Saturday game, right? Yeah, this is a Saturday game. Texans are 10-5, Chargers are 11-4, 39.5 over under. Wow, and a 2.5 point spread. We got two defenses that have been playing fairly well, playing really good football. Chargers offense, Texans offense, not the best this year, but they're still winning games because of that defense. Man, part of me wants to go. Only reason why I want to go with the Chargers is because they're at home. And, man, I'm just like, ooh, because the Texans almost got beat last week versus the Raiders too. So I don't know if it was just a fluke kind of, defense that was going on last week, or if there's been injuries. I haven't really been paying attention to the injury report for the Texans. But I kind of want to lean on the Chargers here to win this game. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go with the Chargers over the Texans. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, this is going to be the first matchup that we're going to be different on and split on here, which I'm perfectly fine with. Let me go with the Texans in this game. I think that the Texans still have the better defense. They still have the most ferocious pass rushing. I think that they will get after Justin Herbert and company. Justin Herbert had a phenomenal day in the office this past Sunday. But again, that was also going against the Dallas Cowboys defense that has been bad for real all year long. We thought that they were going on a momentum uptick in the upswing of things, but they weren't. I do believe that the Texans will right the ship on defense to not let them make games close, even though this is one of those matchups. It's a rematch from last year's playoff appearance when the Chargers went on the road to Houston. When Justin Herbert threw that 4 interception game. And I think that the Texans, they just gotten stronger on defense since then. And I don't know if I still trust in CJ Stroud, but when it comes to the opportunity here to basically keep pace with Jacksonville to stay in the hunt for the AFC South, I like the Texans here more so than the Chargers in this game. Plus, this is going to double back into why I picked the Broncos to let be their T-shirt and hats game against Kansas City on Christmas night. Because if the Chargers lose that game, then the Broncos will be crowned the AFC West champions. And I think that happens this weekend. The Texans are a tougher matchup for the Chargers. They do not match up well against the Houston Texans. Not with the weaknesses that I see on the Chargers offensive line. I can just see waves of pass rushes just come greatly at them. And it is not even just where they got to send blitzes and send houses. I think that their D-line by themselves can be able to wreak all kinds of havoc led by Will Anderson Jr., and I just don't think that the Chargers will be able to block enough. You better be able to run the ball and do play action passing, but you're not going to be able to really run the ball against this defensive front here. And secondly, I think that their secondary can match up with anybody that they have on the receiving core of things. I know that McConkey and Orlando Gatson are the two main primary targets that Justin Herbert tends to focus on. He does have Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson, but dude, I like the secondary of Houston better than I like the secondary of the Chargers. And that's not saying that I don't think that the Chargers defense is legit, because they are. They've shown over the last couple of weeks that they can win games by themselves for you. The Chargers are a nice, well-rounded team, in my opinion, to where is that going into the postseason, they should be able to take advantage of an opportunity to win a playoff game this year. However, this is the game I don't see them taking advantage of the opportunity, even though they are already in the playoffs now at this point. They already kind of clinched the playoff berth. But, yeah, I can see this definitely being a 3-point victory for the Texans. I know that the 2.5-point line, but I think I'll go with the Texans on this one here.
So I was just looking at their injury report. Danico Autry, defensive end, he's having a knee injury, did not practice. Jake Hansen, linebacker, chest, did not practice. Dylan Horton, hip injury, did not practice. Lassiter, corner, foot, he did not practice. Sheldon Rankins, knee, did not practice. Stingley Jr., oblique, did not practice. You still going with Texas?
I am still going with the Texans because we're talking about this being on a Tuesday. Now,
usually, I know.
If it was a situation where nobody's practicing and then we're talking about Thursday or Friday, okay, yeah, then I got a little bit of concerns here. But Tuesday, Veterans Day off on some of those occasions as well, too. You got to rest up. You know you got a short week. You already should have prepared a game plan ahead of time if you're going into this window when playing on a Christmas Day game or a Saturday game. You should already come up with the opportunity to be able to get your game plan prepared ahead of time, especially you're about to get ready to hit the road here.
Yeah. All right. Next one up, we will. How many minutes are we into this damn thing?
We're not even at 20 minutes yet. You want to do the next one and go to break?
Yeah, let's do the next two and then we'll go to break. Next one up, Justin, the Ravens versus the Packers. 7-8 Ravens versus the 9-5-1 Packers on Saturday at 8 p.m. 40.5 over under. It's a 2.5-point spread, Justin. Justin, who are you taking?
I really don't know. If you would have told me before Jordan Love went out with the injury, then because I know that he suffered a concussion against the Bears, that might sideline him for this game against the Ravens. I would have picked the Green Bay Packers. I get it, they're at home. The Ravens got to travel on the road, but I don't think that Jordan Love might even play in this game. He still got to go through concussion protocol. He may very well pass. And this very well may be a pick that I could easily pick the Packers in, just be on the safe side. The Ravens, with them losing against the Patriots on Sunday night this past weekend, I think that they're ready to kind of shut it down. Lamar already got another bruised back injury, so we might see a battle of the backups here with Tyler Huntley versus Malik Willis. If that is the case, I think I'm going to probably lean the Green Bay Packers here, just for that notion. And then it's going to just send the Ravens fans into a pit of misery because they lose this game, then they're officially out of the AFC North race. But they still got to win this game in order to be able to set up for the finale against Pittsburgh to be a do-or-die game for the division win. But if they lose this game, it's all bets are off. I think I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, sadly, as that kind of pains me as a Bengals fan, to win this game, because I do got a suspicion gut in my body, in the pit of my stomach, that feels like that Week 18 game between the Ravens and Steelers is going to be your Sunday night game. So that's what I'm going to go with. It's going to be the Ravens to win this game and pull this one out, and then possibly lose next week in the finale at Pittsburgh. I know Green Bay still got to win this game too, because they haven't locked up anything too for that final wild card spot and everything like that. So, but I think the Ravens are the team that I'm cautiously picking here in this spot.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the Packers. The reason why I'm going with the Packers is because Jordan Love was a limited practice today with concussion and left shoulder injury. I just don't. And also, though, I don't have faith in the Ravens. I think how the Packers have been playing this season, even after Micah Parsons went down, and even after Jordan Love went down, it was a great game versus the Bears and the Packers. It really was. It was a great game. That defense still, tried to win that football game, even though they had Malik Willis out there that, hasn't really been taking any starting reps or nothing. So if Malik Willis is starting this game versus Tyler Huntley, I think the Packers defense is going to still be a pain in his ass. I think they're going to be able to push the ball down the field, even if it was running or short passes to the tight ends or slant passes to the wide receivers or some screens to the halfback. Get him doing these short, quick passes for Malik Willis, and if Jordan Love come back, that opens up the playbook. So, but as of right now, I'm gonna say the Packers. I just think I think there's a possibility that Jordan Love is going to be back on Sunday or on Saturday, because the fact of the matter is if he's passing concussion protocol and they have to win this football game, Jordan Love's going to be on the field. So I'm picking the Packers over the Ravens.
And that's also why I went with the Ravens too, and for the same exact reason that you outlined. And it's because, Lamar got to play this game. If they want a chance to win in the AFC North for the third straight year in a row, which doesn't seem likely at this point, you got to play Lamar, and you very may well win this game if that does be the case. But at the end of the day, again, it's cautious. It's cautious. I mean, I fully expect this to be this should have been a better game. I wish this game would have been a little bit earlier in the year. But here it is on the back end of things, where it seems like the seasons are pretty much done and over with here.
Right.
Did you know that the Ravens once again lead the league in Pro Bowls? Pro Bowlers now named with 6.
That's ridiculous. Okay, I mean, I get it. I get it,
bro.
I do.
Zay Flowers should not have been named to the Pro Bowl. What? I'm sorry. He was one of the receivers that was named a Pro Bowler. Now,
guys voted by the fans, right?
Yeah, it's that stupid stuff. I mean, I don't know what else other factors are voting that's coming into it, but you got Derrick Henry is an obvious Pro. Lamar didn't even get elected to Pro Bowl because he was injured. So you got Derrick Henry. You got I don't know. I didn't check the tight ends, but I would think Mark Andrews would probably been named to one. But you got Kyle Hamilton. I believe Roquan Smith. You got the safety. I did say Kyle Hamilton's name.
Yeah, Kyle already.
Tyler Lindenbaum, the center. And I'm sure that there's a slew of other guys, but once again, they lead the league in Pro Bowlers with 6 Pro Bowlers. Last year they had 8, and the year before that they had 8, and now they got 6. But yet every year I got to hear Ravens fans talk ad nauseum about how they got so many injuries and how they got practice squatters at corner and all that stuff. I was just like, dude, you guys got Pro Bowlers. Y'all lead the league in Pro Bowlers literally every year. And I think that's just hilarious to me.
And they still can't win a AFC championship game. It's okay.
Nah, yeah.
All right. Next one up is the Buccaneers 7-8, Dolphins 6-9. That's our 1 p.m. game on Sunday. It's a 46.5 over under 5.5 point spread. Justin, who you taking?
Believe it or not, Quinn Ewers actually impressed me, even though they got that ass
He
beat
did.
against the Bengals. He did make some solid throws. It just got to a point in the third quarter where the avalanche of turnovers just happened, and then the Bengals just flexed their muscles because they were the better team that day. I do expect that the Buccaneers to win this game. Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, this is their last chance because they got the finale showdown against the Carolina Panthers, but you got to win this game, and then you got to win that game too. Otherwise, it's over for you. So I think the Dolphins, they're in full-blown tank mode. I can't trust this team with a 10-foot pole, so I will not even touch them with a 10-foot pole, as I say. So I'm going to stick with the Buccaneers. That's the obvious and the safe pick here in this spot here. If the Bucs were to lose this game, they do not deserve to even play Week 18 against the Carolina Panthers at all. But I do expect them to win this game here against the Dolphins.
I agree with you, but I just don't have no faith in it. Like, I can't trust the Bucs. Like, I just cannot trust the Bucs. The Bucs are one of those teams that I can't go all in on the Buccaneers, even beating the Dolphins. I know the Dolphins are starting a rookie quarterback and they're falling apart. I just can't. Oh man. But I guess that being said, I know the Buccaneers gotta win. This is the bragging rights for that, that whole Florida part, I guess. I don't know. The Bucs suck. The Dolphins suck. Austin Art, your team, the Bucs, still suck. I don't care what you say. I guess I'm going to go with the Buccaneers as well because, we saw what the Dolphins did last week against the Bengals. But we also saw what the Bucs did against the Panthers, but the Panthers wanted it more than the Buccaneers did. So I'll go with the Bucs this week. Man, I'm going to regret if we lose this game. But anyways,
and then they just lose, bro. At the end of the day, then they just lose. But I know for a fact, I'd rather be wrong about a bad team than be wrong about a good team.
But they were a good team. That's the problem, though, Justin. They were a good team.
I said that wrong. I'd rather be wrong about a good team than be wrong picking with the bad team and be wrong that way. Because if I were to say, I think the Dolphins could pull up the upset and then they get obliterated 50-10, then I'm gonna be mad that I ever picked the Dolphins to win this game to begin with. Where here's the other side of the coin. The Dolphins historically have shown when they get to this part of the season that they will actively tank. There's a part of me that feels like that the Dolphins had tanked last week's game against the Bengals because they stopped running. They stopped passing the ball to Darren Waller, who had obvious winning matchups. They didn't throw to him. It was like that they were told from ownership on down to the press box, don't throw no more passes to Darren Waller. And then they stopped running the ball when the running lanes were still there for Devon Achane. It just didn't make much sense to me. If I were looking at it from a Dolphins perspective, it was like, so you're just going to put all of the onus on Quinn Ewers, who's making his first NFL start, to throw to Jalen Waddle was fine too. I like Jalen Waddle, who that should have been a Pro Bowler in my opinion over Zay Flowers and T. Higgins. But regardless, though, they have shown. I'm just saying, the Dolphins have historically shown obvious spots to where if they have a losing record by the time you get to this part in their season, they are going to tank. They're not going to win games of when it counts the most. The only time that you felt that they were going to win and win for morale and character was when Brian Flores was their head coach, and I believe that that's the thing that got him fired because they were trying to play for better draft position in here.
Right.
So that's another reason I don't even want to touch the Dolphins with a 10-foot pole, man. At the end of the day, man, I don't trust the Bucs either. I'm with you, but give me them versus the Dolphins, who I know is trying to lose games at some point.
I guess I can agree, but I have a question for you, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
So that game, the Patriots versus the Ravens last week, Derrick Henry was running the shit out of the ball, and then the Ravens decided to stop letting him run the football. Do you think that there's a little bit of tankage going on there?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know if this tanking is the right word when it comes to that, because at the end of the day, man, the Ravens still got to play football, and they know that they still have to be able to win that division. But I also think that Lamar was the catalyst. It does, but I think that because Derrick Henry also fumbled in that game too.
And but then after that, he was on fire.
He was, but the fumble was the real one of those turning points that really gave the Patriots momentum. But I also think that Keaton Mitchell is a guy that can be a matchup nightmare too, and they just don't use him enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little twofold. I think also at the end of the day, when Lamar didn't come back, that kind of threw a lot of problems for their offense altogether. To where if it's Tyler Huntley and you got Derrick Henry in the backfield, you don't really kind of have the real running threat with Tyler Huntley like you do Lamar. So it will be easy to be able to call out the run game, the run plays with Tyler Huntley with Derrick Henry in the backfield. I think it was probably by some of it design. Was it a good design? Probably not.
No,
But
that
I
was
don't really,
awful. That's a good way
I
to get
didn't get the
yourself
feeling.
fired.
Right. I don't feel like that was a tank job because John Harbaugh is one of those head coaches, but ain't no tanking happening in our book. We may lose,
That's true,
but we ain't tanking. Like he's that kind of coach.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, let's take our commercial break. Just in case Brandon remembers to put this up on Podcast World. We'll take a quick commercial break, guys, and then we'll be right back with you.
And Tim decided to talk as his mic is muted. Look
Son
at
of
that.
A bitch. Welcome back, everybody. See, it's just like Justin. He's calling me out. He's like, Tim, your mute's muted. It's muted, and you're talking and yip yapping. But anyways, welcome back, everybody. Let's get on to it. Let's get this over with because we do have the Running Through the Jungle podcast next at 5:05. So let's get this going. So next up is the Cardinals 3-12 versus the 5-10 Cincinnati Bengals. 53.5 over under 7-point spread. Justin, who you taking? Let me know because I'm gonna have my wife get me a beer. But who you taking?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals to win this game. This is where the Bengals, they kind of start the whole send them home happy kind of brigade to where they're out of the playoffs. It hasn't been a great season, but you got to win games in the end to make the fans feel better and give you some momentum going into the offseason. They do this every single time. They've done it a lot during the Marvin Lewis era. They did it last year when they were trying to win out to get a playoff spot, and they did 1-5 in a row. And I think this year you got the final 2 games left. You already destroyed the Dolphins, and the Bengals got the Cardinals on deck, and then next week they're home against the Browns. The Cardinals, I liked what I've been seeing from them on offense, but I'm not going to predict them to go on the road and win this game, even though for some weird reason, Jacoby Brissett is undefeated when he makes his career starts against the Bengals for some reason. I don't know what it is about this dude. So here's what I will say. I'm going to pick the Bengals to win, but I am going to pick the Cardinals to cover that spread. All right. Just because I just don't believe that the Bengals are going to find an answer for some wild reason to be able to cover Jacoby Brissett as he makes those throws to Trey McBride, the tight end. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to play that great, but I think that he can get his numbers up on the Bengals secondary because, look, I have given credit to where credit is due with the Bengals defense about them bouncing back a little bit. But I'm not letting all those turnovers against the Dolphins fool me. I still saw a defense that can't get after the quarterback, that the rushing lanes were open, and that if the Dolphins would have just stuck to the rushing attack, probably still would have lost still because Joe Burrow was just that phenomenal. But at the end of the day, I still felt like that they could have still controlled the ground game a little bit better than that. I think that the Cardinals, they're just not a good enough team, in my opinion, to be able to win a game on the road of this. Even though this is late in the season, they're 3-12. They're a bad team. They got to build towards the future next year. They got good pieces, but they also got a lot of injuries too. So, yeah, going with the Bengals here, you'll definitely get a full analysis breakdown on our Running Through the Jungle episode here that we're going to do. So I'll just keep it simple for now, even though that was a lot of long-winded stuff.
Yeah, I am going to pick the Cincinnati Bengals, not just because I'm a fan, just because I think we have the better quarterback. We have the better wide receiver. I know we're going to have some problems, with Trey McBride because we always have problems with the tight end. And then we're going to have problems with the running back. But I still think the Bengals overcome it. What did I say the over-under was? 53.5. I might bet the under on that one if I was a betting man, because I just don't think I just don't see The Cardinals putting up a lot of points. Bengals might put up 30. But anyways, picking the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you want our further reaction to this Cardinals-Bengals game, come over here at 8:05 with your hosts, Brandon Harriet, Justin Lacey, and myself, Tim Lyons. I will be there tonight, guys. Just FYI, my eye is okay. I'm doing all right. So let's go on to the next one. The Jacksonville Jaguars, 11-4 versus the 8-7 Colts. 6.5 point spread, 47.5 over under. I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now and right away. I'm picking the Jaguars because the Colts are playing Riley Leonard these last two games from what I heard on the street. So that being said, Riley Leonard, rookie out of Notre Dame. You guys have seen how the Colts played last night. It was an okay game. It was, but I don't think that defense can hold up for the rest of the year. I know Lou is the new defensive coordinator over there. Our old DC from the Bengals. They were running and having a great season, but their run game kind of has. I think it hit its peak, and it's kind of not. It's not. Jonathan Taylor's just not running that ball like he was. And then also the Jaguars are playing red hot football right now. So I'm going with the Jags. Justin, who you going with?
I'm going with the Jags too, but I still think that Phillip Rivers is playing. He played Monday night. He played fine. I don't think you need to trot Riley Leonard out there. He ain't ready. Just play Phillip Rivers. You brought him back out of retirement for a reason. It didn't seem like Phillip Rivers was hurt. It is what it is with the Colts. You're practically out of the playoffs now at this point. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still an opportunity. But I don't believe that they're going to be. I think that they're all but out of it now at this point. And it's exactly what I said before earlier in the year is that when they went on that hot start, I said they are going to be prepared for the dark cloud to hit them because that's the team that I can see crashing back to earth at a moment's notice. They went out and made the Sauce Gardner trade, gave up 2 first-round picks. He gets hurt. I get it. They were trying to push the all-in chips in there on this particular season, and part of the Phillip Rivers moves because they didn't want to give up from that hot start of that they had. And when Daniel Jones went out with an injury, it was like, you know what, we got to pivot and do something. But I just already knew that it was over. And as far as what you mentioned about defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, former Bengals defensive coordinator, there was way too much talk that he was not the problem here in Cincinnati. Yes, he kind of was, okay? This is not one of those situations where I'm going to walk back those comments from last year when I clearly saw problems on defense, and it's because of his decision of what he decided to do with that side of the ball. You're seeing the same thing bubble up to the surface. The difference is though, you got a lot of veterans that you can lean on with the Colts defense. But again, you saw a lot of points given up. You see, and this is at home too. It's just the bottom of the barrel is kind of falling out with the team. They're a hot team that just went cold, and sure they could potentially pull off an upset here at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I ain't about to bet that. The Jags are playing way too good of football right now, and they also have the chance at the number 1 seed. And I think that's who I'm going to go with. Obviously, not just to win the division, but hell, man, at this point. Why not bet with the Jacksonville Jaguars to get the first round bye and get the number 1 seed in the AFC? The maps laid out for them. Just win the game. So, yeah, Jacksonville all the way for me.
Yeah, all right. So, next one up, the Patriots versus the Jets. Patriots are 12-3. Jets are 3-12. A 13.5 point spread. I think that's the largest spread. Yep, that's the largest spread of the week. With 13.5 points, 42.5 over under. Justin, who you taking, the Patriots or the Jets?
No, we're taking the Patriots. Even if the Patriots would have dropped their backup out there, can't even get through that seriously. So yeah, Pats all day, bro.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm taking the Patriots as well. Patriots are the better team. We have seen what they've done, this year against these inferior teams. So I'm taking the Patriots as well. I'm not gonna waste very much time on that. Next one up. Oh my gosh, here we go again. The Saints versus the Titans. The Saints are 5-10. Titans are 3-12. 2.5 point spread. 39.5 over under. You know what? 2 weeks in a row, people. I'm taking the Saints. Justin, and don't even ask me why. I just am. Justin, who are you taking? The Saints or the Titans?
2 weeks in a row, I'm taking the Titans. Come on, baby. This is where Cam Ward has got to make his money. If you want to feel good about your future, if you're the Tennessee Titans, you got to play well in this game just for the morale and the sake of quarterback building. You've already went out there and got a nice win over the Kansas City Chiefs, albeit it was a depleted Chiefs team. But go out there and beat another bad team. You're at home again. Let's go and take care of business. So with that being said, man, yeah, 2 weeks in a row, I think I'm going to ride the Cam Ward train and give me the Titans.
All right, that sounds good. See, look at there, we're picking differently. We see who's gonna end up first or on top. All right,
I think you kind of got a sizable gap of a lead now at this point. I don't know. At this point,
I got a 5-game lead. That's not very much. I could step on a Lego and be in second place, after this week. Who knows? But anyways, let's go on. The 12-3 Seahawks versus the 8-7 Panthers. 7.5 point spread. 42.5 over under. Justin, who are you taking?
Yeah, the Panthers are going to lose this game because Seattle still needs to win the NFC West. And because I also have the Bucs winning, and the Panthers got to lose because Week 18 is going to be interesting between that finale between those two teams. But all bets are off if the Panthers win this game and the Bucs lose. But I don't think that's happening. The Bucs are going to clearly beat the Dolphins. I think the Panthers lose this game against Seattle. Seattle's still playing too damn good of football. They're coming off that thriller of a Thursday night game against the Rams. So they had enough time to rest at that 10-day stretch to where, yes, even though this game is on the road, it's enough time for them to be able to go out there and then punch them right in the mouth and then go home with a victory. Probably be the decider for the NFC West, depends on what happens to the 49ers and the Rams. But I think that the Seahawks already got a leg up on the Rams already because they've beaten them. And the 49ers are the only team that you got to be careful with. But if you win this game, there's a great chance you win the NFC West this week. So give me Seattle here.
Yeah, so I want to embellish a little bit on that. So the Seahawks definitely need to win. You have the 49ers who are nipping at their toes. The Seahawks still have the 49ers to play on Week 18, just FYI.
Okay.
But that being said,
Week 18 games.
Yeah, it's going to be a good Week 18 game because I don't see the Seahawks and I don't see the 49ers sitting their starters for this game, especially if it's, if the Seahawks happen to drop this game. It's going to be a 3-way race for first place in that NFC West division. So, but that being said, the Seahawks, everybody's been shitting on Sam Darnold, and when he came back against the Rams last week and they won that game, and JSN stepped up and started that first half. JSN wasn't getting the football. I think he had like one catch for like 9 yards. And the only reason why I know, I'm a fantasy football guy. He's on my fantasy football team. And by the way, I am playing for the chip this week. This is my chip week. So if I win fantasy football this week, I am the champion of the fantasy football league. But anyways, I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks over the Panthers. I don't think the Panthers have what it takes to beat the Seahawks. The Seahawks are they're playing great football. The Panthers are like night and day. You don't know if they're going to win the game or if they're going to lose the game because that's just they're playing mediocre football. It was a statement win for them to win over the Buccaneers last week. Yeah, that's great. But they're playing against the 12-3 Seahawks. So I'm taking the Seahawks over the Panthers.
And another thing too, the Panthers are not ready for a big boy matchup in this game yet. Now, the Panthers did prove us wrong a few weeks ago when they did beat the Rams at home that time, and they had the Rams slip up in that environment. So they are capable of winning a game like this. They've shown that. But I don't think that when it's time to be, when the big boys need to show up, they're not one of the big dogs yet. Okay, they're not there. The Seattle Seahawks have proven over the course of this whole entire season they can beat anybody. Let's just keep it a buck here. So that's another reason why it's like at this point in time is you start to get the real sense of who's the real juggernauts and the playoff contenders are, and then who's the teams that are just kind of happy to be playing with some sort of momentum there. Nothing wrong with the Carolina Panthers. I like the direction of where they're headed. If they take another step next year, then you can see a lot of different conversations go a little bit differently at a more elevated standpoint where they could be in that conversation, but they're just not there yet for me.
Yeah. Next one up is the Steelers 9-6 versus the 3-12 Browns. It's only a 3-point spread, 33.5 over
As
under.
it should. As it should.
Steelers are DK less, possibly still. I'm guessing that I don't know if the appeal has been had yet or not, but DK's not playing as of right now. The Browns are not playing all year long. So, but I think Myles Garrett gets his sack on this weekend. Gets his sack on it, like kind of like Missy Elliott. Yeah, how she was getting her freak on. Myles Garrett's going to get his sack on.
Pause. No Diddy is what they say on the homies podcast.
No Diddy. You know what? You know what the difference between this podcast and that podcast is? We ain't a Steelers podcast, so no Diddy my ass. but
I'm still gonna say it on their behalf that if either one of them is on this show and they heard you say that, they gonna say no Diddy and put the clip up in a heartbeat.
I'm sure. But that being said, Justin, who are you taking, the Steelers or the Browns?
Oh, so you didn't pick yet?
No, I didn't.
All right.
I want to pick. To be honest with you, you know who I really want to pick for this game?
You want to pick the Browns, don't you?
I want to pick the Browns. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. I just have this feeling. But you know what? Since I'm the host, I'm going to give it to you, buddy. Who you picking, the Steelers or the Browns?
Believe it or not, playing in Cleveland is really tough for Pittsburgh. This is why I understand why the three-point line is where it is and why the over and under is as low it is, why it is, because these are two teams with not really explosive offense. And yes, you already mentioned that the Steelers are not going to have DK Metcalf, really the one downfield threat that they have for real. Aaron Rodgers has been playing better as of late, so I feel like that he can make weapons out of anything. But how much of a weapon of force is Aaron Rodgers going to be against this still kind of a vaulted enough of a Browns defense? Do I think that the Steelers are going to just they already know what's out there for Myles Garrett to be able to do? I believe that the Browns are not going to have Myles Garrett get his sack record on the Steelers. The Steelers are too prideful of a bunch. But I do think that the Browns actually can upset the Steelers in this game. I really do. Because the Steelers have not won in Cleveland since 2021, Ben Roethlisberger's last year. And even before then, they had won the previous two times in Cleveland. They actually hadn't won in Cleveland prior to that since 2017 when the Browns went winless. Okay, so 2 wins in Cleveland since 2017. You're talking about for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns, a team that the Steelers have always dominated again. Over these Baker Mayfield years and now over into this era of the Browns, they haven't won a lot of games in Pittsburgh. So with that being said, I'm not so convinced that the Steelers are going to just walk into Cleveland and then win this game. Right. I think that the Steelers, though, will win this game and get the Cleveland monkey off their back for a change. I think that I think it's going to be pretty close. I don't think that Myles Garrett gets his sack record against the Steelers, even though I want that to happen. But I think that that's going to happen, unfortunately, in the final Week 18 slate when they go against the Bengals, because the Bengals just throw the ball all over the yard for some reason. Still, I think the Bengals win that game, but that's speaking prematurely right there for that game. But that's the team. That's where I think is going to happen. Steelers get a close victory. It's going to be another grinded out game. The Ravens still got to win to keep pace, and it still sets up for a nice little showdown for Week 18 between Baltimore going at Pittsburgh to close out the AFC North winner and who decides to win that game. But give me Pittsburgh. I think that they win this game.
You know, you said a lot of things, and I agree with everything that you said. And the Steelers, they have a hard time winning in Cleveland. And, you know, I'm still not sold on Aaron Rodgers, and I know he's been playing better. I know he's been playing. He had a good game last week against the Detroit Lions. But I'm picking the Browns over the Steelers. Steelers aren't beating the Browns. The Browns are going to somehow pull off some. And let's not forget, this is Christmas week, and they have that elf in the middle of their damn field. I think some little elf makes something happen and the Browns pull off this W versus the Steelers. I'm taking the Browns, and Myles Garrett breaks the sack record and sacks Aaron Rodgers.
We want him to get that sack record as Bengals fans, just so that way we're not the team that he gets that record on, because it's going to be old Joe Burrow. It's going to ultimately solidify his Hall of Fame case that way. I don't want that to happen either. But yeah, I'm with you. I get you.
All right. Next one up is the Giants versus the Raiders. Both are 2 in trash.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh. 41.5 over under 1.5 point game. Justin, do I need to go get my quarter out and flip?
Man, can I pick both of these teams to tie?
Hey, if you pick them to tie and they actual tie, then that's a win. But if one of them wins, that's a loss on your end.
It's a loss.
So you know what? So that being said, Justin, who are you taking? You taking the Giants or you taking the Raiders?
Man, both of these teams are going to try hard to lose this game because, correct me if I'm wrong, whoever loses this game is officially going to be get the number one overall pick. And I've already said since the second half of the season started that that's probably going to be the Raiders. And I think I'm going to keep that going. I think I'm going to pick the Giants to win this game, so that way they get the number 2 overall pick or 3, whatever they finish record-wise with other teams. But the Raiders lose again and they lose out. That's where I'm going to go.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game and I know they have Ashton Genty. Genty had he had a pretty good week last week. He ran the hell. He was playing some good ball last week, even against the Texans. He put up some good fantasy points last week. But they are going against the Giants as well. I know Geno, I like to throw to the other team. Smith is, I don't know, I'm guessing he's playing. I don't know who's playing. But I guess if I look at it, they do have Abdul Carter over there on the Giants side. Man, you took the Raiders? Is it right? Is that you?
Hell no, I ain't taking no Raiders. I ain't picking the Raiders ever.
You took the Giants. You took the Giants.
I took the Giants. Yeah, just
you know what? I'm going to take
the opposite.
I'm going to take I am going to take the Raiders. I think Ashton Genty puts up some points and just keeps them, to win this game by 2 or 3 points. Who knows? But I guess, I'm just going to take the Raiders. It don't matter anyways. I'm taking it for too much.
We spend way too much time on these two terrible ass teams, bro. I'm ready.
It's kind of hard, bro. It's like, damn, they so sorry you don't even know who to pick.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I was like, I literally picked that game based off of my analysis that I think the Raiders are going to get the number 1 overall pick, and in order for them to do that, they got to lose out.
Yeah, but so do the Giants. The Giants are going for a number 1 pick again, for high first rounder again too. So, anyways, let's stop talking about those 2 trash teams. Next one up is the Eagles 10-5 versus 11-4 Bills. 43.5 over under a 1.5 point spread. Woo! I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills over the Eagles, and I ain't going to explain. If you guys have been watching this NFL Pick'em show this whole time we've been doing it, you know how I feel about the Eagles offense, and I don't trust the Eagles this week because they are playing against a better team, and Mr. Superman over there with his cape, Josh Allen. I ain't picking the Eagles over the Bills. I'm picking the Bills over the Eagles. Justin, who you taking?
If the Bills win this game, Josh Allen should be MVP. I will go ahead and say that because Josh Allen would have beaten Lamar Jackson in week 1, and that's when the Ravens were coming in Super Bowl favorites too. Patrick Mahomes, say what you will about the Chiefs season this year, they always give the Bills trouble, but they would have beaten Josh Allen would have beaten Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Jalen Hurts. Okay, that's the gauntlet of quarterbacks right there. And I don't even like putting Jalen Hurts in that gauntlet of quarterbacks, but the Eagles are still a damn good team, and you have to respect it. So with that being said, though, in my opinion, my humblest opinion, I think the MVP is still going to go probably to Matt Stafford and the Rams. But if the Bills win this game, and somehow they steal the AFC East division away from the New England Patriots. Oh, and then the Patriots, they did a crazy comeback win against the Patriots just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I think that it's probably safe to say that you can insert Josh Allen as MVP front runner, and it will be well deserved at that point. Last year, I thought he deserved it a little bit, but they probably just felt bad for him that it voted fatigue with Lamar, and that's probably why they went with him this time. But this year, it would be really, I would understand why they give it to him, especially with no real downfield receiving targets. But Josh Allen is not doing it by himself. James Cook really is the main identity of the running game on the offense here. It's just going to be a really intriguing matchup because you got Saquon on one side, James Cook on the other side. They both have this crazy tush push kind of style, short yardage offense to where we really haven't seen it much in this past season. So this season so far for the Eagles. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't really trust the Eagles offense, but they haven't given me reason to believe in them. I've kind of lost hope for them.
Right.
But man, you know what? The Bills, they make it look a little bit too hard than sometimes than what they need to as well. And I still don't like the Bills defense either.
Look at our.
Let me go with the Eagles.
Are you serious?
Let me go with the Eagles. Do I feel good about it, Tim? Absolutely not. I don't. But number one, I'm also picking this because in the spirit of being different and trying to keep up and trying to catch you eventually at some point, I gotta be able to take risks and take chances.
But it's not about risk. It's not about risks though. Right now, it's about our fans coming on our NFL Picker Show and trusting our football knowledge to pick the winners of the game. I don't care if I win or if you win. I don't give a shit. We ain't winning nothing in the end. In the end, all we're saying is.
But I also think that we've been putting way too much stock into the Buffalo Bills and with all of the come from behind victories and close wins that they have. You know, They stampede and score at will. It feels like when they were down 24-7 against New England, they stormed all the way back and ended up winning that game. The game against the Bengals, they came from behind and won that game. Yes, it has been very impressive, but realistically, it's also been just pure luck for them too for some of these things. It ain't like that they haven't had the ball break their way. Against Cleveland, let's keep it honest here. They kind of should have lost against the Browns last week. I'm not going to forget about that.
That's true. That's true.
Josh Allen did get hurt in that game. I mean, he ended up coming back and playing the rest of the day. But the Eagles, while I don't trust them, I still feel like that they can be the team to end the streak. And if the Patriots have any hope of having the Bills kind of stumble somewhere for these final two games, it's this week. So Do I trust the Eagles? No. But I do think that I can pick them to win a game that I don't feel comfortable with because I do feel like that they have enough firepower on both offense and defense to be able to beat the Bills here, even if it is on the road.
All right, cool. All right, so you're taking the Eagles, I'm taking the Bills. So let's see what happens. We'll all know on Sunday night. Next one up, the Bears 11-4 versus the 11-4 49ers. A 52.5 over under, 3-point spread. Justin, man, we got some good football right now. Who are you taking?
This is tough, man, because I like both of these teams. But I think that the team has been riding the hot wave is the Chicago Bears. But man, dog, I just literally watched the 49ers put on a scoring fest against the Colts on the road too at that. And boy, did they whoop that. They really put on a clinic. And I also think that they did that largely and partly is because they knew that Phillip Rivers was going to want to come out there and just start trying to really prove a point that even though he's 44, he can still sling it with everybody else. And so part of me feels like that's why the 49ers just kind of have to keep scoring for a part of that. But Kyle Shanahan is just a wizard on offense. I think I'm going to go with the Bears just because, number one, I think that Ben Johnson's done one hell of a job in his first year as a coach of the Bears. He has turned that offense into a machine too. Caleb Williams is not turning the ball over like crazy. He's making great throws. I get it. The Packers are always a tough team for the Bears to play. But it did impress me, and I know they didn't have Jordan Love, but Malik Willis still did a pretty good job too. But the come from behind win in which he did it, and then man, that overtime deep throw that he made to DJ Moore to seal the victory was just nice. A thing of beauty. That was chef's kiss. So that tells me that Caleb Williams, we're finally starting to see the magic, the fruits of his labor come to his own here. He's always had the potential, but he had to kind of grow to this point. And I think that they are built for a win like this in this moment here, this late in the season, week 17, to be able to go on the road and beat another good team, albeit depleted team, but another good team in the 49ers here. Chicago wins this game, and I think that they win the NFC North with this win if they do win this game.
Yeah, I think I think so. Because
the only team that they gotta be able to worry about is the Green Bay Packers, and they already beat them. They split with them, but winning this game will do much more wonders for them with the NFC conference record. So yeah, I think that this is going to be another T-shirt and hat game for them.
Well, you know what though, buddy? I'm going to just tell you something. The 49ers, they have to win out. The 49ers offense is looking great. Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, did a great job against the Colts, even against the run game. Let's don't forget, Brock Purdy is out there slinging the rock. CMC is out there. I think the 49ers have a better offense than the Bears do.
I agree.
And with the way the Bears have been playing, like last week, they played a pretty good damn game. They kept it low scoring against the Packers. But let's not forget Jordan Love went down, so there was no really offense to worry about. But they did come back and they won that game. But I think this week is a different story. They're going against these 49ers. These 49ers are playing great football. They're hot right now. There was doubts that the 49ers were even going to do anything because of all the injuries they suffered. They lost Fred Warner, who was, the captain of that defense. But, they've got other guys stepping up and playing great football. And they lost Nick Bosa as well. They're just playing good football on that defensive side of the ball. But I think that being said, though, is since they're coming into San Francisco in the Levi Stadium, I'm going to pick the 49ers over the Bears because of that advantage at being at home. And they're going to have Caleb Williams running around way too much. And he's going to make a crucial turnover, and the 49ers are going to win this game. I might be crazy.
No, you're not crazy. And this is why I said that these big boy matchups, the Eagles, Bills, Bears, 49ers, I anticipated that we were going to split on these just because at the end of the day, man, these are still good teams that's going against each other. And I was so impressed with how the 49ers was able to round themselves in the form. They could have allowed the Colts on Monday night to come back after Brock Purdy threw that ill-advised interception deep in the fourth quarter. And I thought to myself, oh boy, if now the Colts are going to go right down the field, and that's exactly what they were doing. They were marching right down the field. Then Winters reads Phillip Rivers' eyes and reads the route of Tyler Warren, the tight end. And he just snags a quick interception throw and then runs it back for a pick six. But it's not one of those things where it says, oh, he just threw it directly to the linebacker. The linebacker had to make a great play on that one. So I absolutely understand why you go with the 49ers in this spot here, because they could do the same thing against the Bears. And the 49ers are proving that no matter who they lose, bro, for a while we was talking about like who can they acquire via trade because they got no pass rushers. Well, they ain't got to worry about that now. And they ain't had Nick Bosa or Fred Warner for a whole season. So they've been impressive, man. They've been impressive. So, again, not crazy at all. Even though I'm going with the Bears in this spot, bro, I can easily see the 49ers coming out on top too at this one, especially with them being at home.
All right, last one up. The 11-4 Rams playing on Monday Night Football, right? Is that Monday night? Yeah, that would be Monday night. Yep. Monday Night Football, 11-4 Rams versus the 6-9 Atlanta Falcons. 49.5 over under, 7.5 point game. I'm going to already just go ahead and pick it because why not? I'm picking the Rams over the Falcons. After that Monday night, or after that, was it Sunday night or Monday? Sunday night. Sunday night. After that Sunday loss, anyways, after that Sunday loss versus the Seahawks, it was Sunday Night Football, yeah. I think Matt Stafford and them and Puka, they were pissed. They were pissed they lost that damn game. They were mad. I'm picking the Rams. I think they're going to be coming in there with some different energy and try not to lose this NFC West division as well. Try to keep because the 49ers right now, they're ahead of them. So it's Seahawks, 49ers, and the Rams right now. But they have to keep battling on, and it's against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons, we don't know. They could go out there and play good ball 1 minute, next minute they're not. So I'm taking the Rams over the Falcons. Justin, who are you taking?
I mean, the Rams did everything they can to win that game against Seattle. It was just unfortunate that Seattle got the ball second in overtime, and they were able to get the 2-point try. Had that 2-point conversion failed, the Rams would have won that game. So I don't want to put too much stock into thinking that the Rams are not going to be capable of being able to do what they need to do. They should have won last week, but they didn't. You credit the Seahawks for being able to go out there and steal that win away from them. And I expect that when you got a heavyweight matchup like that. This one is not so much of a heavyweight matchup because it's going to be a one-sided affair. I like everything what the Rams have already done up to this point. This should be a cakewalk victory for them, although I am hesitant to say that because every time I say cakewalk victory, then the opposite happens and then a good game develops. I'm not expecting a good game to develop here, even though Kirk Cousins has kind of like made me eat a little bit of crow a bit here because I'm still not sold on Kirk Cousins. But I will not be surprised if he will make this a competitive enough game. He got the weapons still at his disposal. But starting off with the Rams, I like their running game. I obviously like Puka Nacua. He is showcasing himself as a top 5 receiver in this NFL. Matt Stafford should be the front runner to win the MVP. If he loses this game, then you probably have him take the backseat to those of, like, let's say a Josh Allen if he goes on and wins out the rest of the way. Excuse me. But I think that Matt Stafford doesn't allow that to happen. They win this game. They set up for a final show. They set up for basically an all-out battle royale for the NFC West when it comes all the way down to it for Week 18.
All right, everybody. That wraps up the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share with your friends. Merry Christmas, you bunch of heathens. Justin, do you have anything to say before we go? Do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I like to say, first of all, as I got the wrong banner pulled up. There we go. Got to get the little the festive holiday banner coming up here. Thank you guys for joining us as well too. I don't really have any crazy final thoughts, but we are entering Christmas Eve. Well, Merry Christmas Eve, and then tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and then Merry Christmas to you all. Happy holidays for whatever you celebrate, whether that was Hanukkah that had already just passed, or you got Christmas that's coming up, or you got Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, man. Happy holidays to you all. I'm sure that we're going to reconvene again as we discuss and touch base before the new year starts. But thank you once again for joining us here. We really appreciate you all for the support.
Yes, we do. Thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate everything, all the support that you bring to us. Justin and I really, we have a fun time doing this NFL Pick'em show. You can see we can share our wealth and our knowledge. Thank you guys so much again. Have a merry, jolly, safe Christmas. Hoo day.